Bad Boys Ride or Die came out a long time ago, and that's about when I saw it. But it seems like a good pairing with Deadpool, so I'm talking about it now. I try to make these reviews when they're still in theaters, and last weekend there was one showing at one theater near me. It probably won't be playing there when this video comes out, but it will probably still be playing in some places. And if it isn't already on demand by now, it will be soon. Anyway, it's from Adil and Bilal, the directing team behind Bad Boys for Life and the superhero masterpiece Batgirl. There is truly no place in hell that is hot enough for David Zaslav. It was written by Chris Brammer, who also worked on Bad Boys for Life, and Will Beall, a writer for Aquaman, Zack Snyder's Justice League, and Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. Hey, I just talked about that movie last week, and mentioned this movie as also being from him. But anyway, I should probably make this short-ish, since everyone's probably more interested in the other movie. No, Michael Bay is not doing these movies anymore, but Adil and Bilal have since proven themselves to be worthy successors. They have the same visual flair and tendency for mayhem, just without Bay's mean-spirited nihilism. Whether that last part is a good or bad thing is up to you. If the first Bad Boys was low on Michael Bay style, maybe because he was still developing it at the time, and Bad Boys 2 was too Michael Bay, Adil and Bilal's Bad Boys movies are the perfect in-between. Bad Boys for Life successfully brought this franchise back from the dead by having actual heart and telling a story about its heroes maturing, a pretty dramatic turn after Bad Boys 2, and that helped to make it the highest grossing movie of the highly competitive year of 2020. Now they've gone back to business as usual, albeit with the same level of maturity that movie set up, and it convinces us that this franchise is far from over. It can keep going for a long time. And seeing how, even in the post-Will Smith slap world, even in the post-George Floyd world, this is still also a financial success, it looks like it'll keep going. And I ain't complaining. This lives up to the third one. It has the same good action, and the chemistry between the two leads are as good as they've ever been. There are some decent jokes in there to go along with the mayhem. Really, it's everything you pretty much expect and hope for. The story isn't as interesting as the third one, without the intrigue of certain things that are revealed in that movie, but it's still an interesting one. This is a great continuation of the franchise that should satisfy any fan who can accept said franchise without Michael Bay. It's not as insane as Bad Boys 2, but it's about as thrilling and funny as any other one of them.
We'll be right back. Now, back to our program.
Deadpool and Wolverine is from Sean Levy, director of Free Guy, The Atom Project, and the Night at the Museum movies. He also wrote it along with star Ryan Reynolds, Rhett Reese, and Paul Wernick, who both worked on the first two as well as Zombieland, and Zeb Wells, a Marvel Comics writer who also worked on shows like Robot Chicken. It's the first Deadpool movie since Disney bought Fox, and they've managed to finally negotiate it so that it stays pretty much the same, making it the first R-rated movie in Disney's MCU. But they've also made it into probably the biggest Deadpool adventure on screen, something that fits in with the largest scale of the MCU. And it also has the MCU's levels of cameos and fan service. There was an advertising campaign recently telling people not to spoil anything, so I walked in expecting an Infinity War level ending that would bring in the rest of the X-Men, but there wasn't. I think the post-credit scene of the Marvels was closer to being that, and that didn't fully do it either. No, what they don't want you to spoil is the cameos, nothing more. Good news for the superhero kids who can't get into R-rated movies, though. To be fair, these cameos are actually the kind of thing that shouldn't be spoiled. Unfortunately, a number of them feel like they're just teasing things to come, more like a casting announcement than something that fits into the movie you're actually watching. But thank goodness Deadpool has some good quips during these scenes. And Deadpool is still as entertaining as ever. Disney has not softened his edge. Some of the edgier jokes kinda miss, but I'd say there were fewer misses than in the second one. This movie lets you know right off the bat that the character is still in good hands right from the first scene, which involves the opening credits playing over a fight set to an in-sync song intercut with scenes of Deadpool dancing. And this ends up being a high point for the entire trilogy. And no, it's not all downhill from here. It maintains that energy throughout. This might not even be the most powerful needle drop in this movie. And of course, Wolverine. They were able to bring him back while only mildly disrespecting the ending of Logan near the beginning.
That's That's Wolverine.
You're damn straight it is. Disney brought him back. They're gonna make him do this till he's 90.
And Hugh Jackson plays him just as well as always, showing that this was more than just a paycheck for him. And he has chemistry with Ryan Reynolds, so a lot of the high points come from their relationship. And since a lot of the criticism I hear about Reynolds' movies is that there's no sincerity because he's always winking at the audience, it's worth noting that Wolverine has a good emotional journey to counteract that. And sincerity could also be found in a tribute to the Fox X-Men movies past, which plays over part of the credits. A eulogy of sorts. And it's moving, especially to fans. It's enough to make you forget that the company behind this are pretty much the reason that they're not making them like that anymore. And the action also isn't toned down. It's as gory and over the top as ever. There's also a lot of stuff that feels like the current MCU action, but in the best way possible. Some of the CGI is a little wonky at times, but not enough to ruin the fun. It's a combination of the two styles of action, and that Deadpool style makes the action a lot more fun than the average MCU fight scene. In conclusion, these characters are finally brought to the MCU, and it's as fun as promised. Some parts of it feel like setup, and the effects don't always look as convincing as they should, but the rest of it is such overwhelmingly good popcorn entertainment that it's easily forgivable. It's not as good as the original, but I think it's better than the second one. And either way, it's one of the few actually great post-Endgame Marvel movies.